Thank you very much, and thank you very much for all of you to have waited for my arrival. Indeed, I had to drive here, but it's obviously a pleasure to be today among you. As we spoke since the beginning, and it's a cliche, but it's a true fact, is matches like or competitions or knockout rounds in two matches are always very tough, both matches. Obviously that theoretically people can state that there's an advantage because we already played away and we were able to score one goal. And then we play home, but I really see it as in a theoretical plan. I think that objectivity of football is what is going to happen inside the four lines. Two teams with a strong will, as we saw in the first match, to make the things fall for their side. After we took a look on the first match, it was clear that it was not a very beautiful match of football, and I don't expect the second one to be much far away from that. The teams more fighting rather than looking to play. Difficult to escape from the duels, difficult to escape from the physical part of the match. Well, I hope that of course we can increase the level on the second half, on the second match, and see a more beautiful football match than we saw in the first one. And I say that because I think that as much as us, Mamelodi Sundowns, can make it the way we like it to be, of course as much we take advantage out of it, and we have a clear intention to win the match, because we don't consider that having scored away and becoming from a draw away gives you that comfort, as if we had scored another goal and made another result we could have got. So expectations of a tough match against a serious opponent, the level of matches every player and every coach wants to be involved in, and every fan wants to watch with a lot of emotions. And for sure it will be interesting to follow. Yeah, there's any coach that thinks that managing a draw advantage because you score away and tries to take the game in that way is making a big mistake. So it's not over even in my way of approaching a football game. And for sure also not in the nature of our players in our club. We have a big responsibility, and the responsibility is obviously to make the best possible out of this semi-final. And to make it, we need to be aggressive enough to have our moments, to create our moments, and to score goals. I believe that we need to score goals if we want to go through, because we also play against a team that can score any moment by the quality of the players that will for sure line up on the other side. What is obviously important is that the teams understand how they can be aggressed, and how we can take offensive actions that can aggress Orlando Pirates, and that's what we're going to do for sure. So these kind of matches are matches that tactically must be very well prepared, because obviously conceding gives also or takes out the advantage of the goal that we scored away, and scoring just gives you one goal advantage, because if Orlando Pirates scores again any moment, then we get a null, and we still need to fight for more. So I think that our approach will be like a normal match. We want to win. We know what qualities has our opponent. We need to reduce them. I think in the first match we had in some moments some difficulties. We need to correct those details, reminding that details are very important things in football. So when we think about details, it doesn't mean that those things are not massive, because they are massive. They can make you suffer goals. And correcting those mistakes, I don't expect that Orlando Pirates will play a different way. They will be the team loyal to themselves, as we see since the new coach arrived. It's very clear. Even yesterday we saw again in the match against Stellenbosch that the way they play is very clear and very easy to characterize. It doesn't mean that it's easy to control, but we need to do it, and we need to take the ball and create our moments and manage the game as much as possible the way we like and we know and we should do, trying to impose as much as possible. Thank you very much. It's always nice to see women among men in this room, and thank you for the question. Obviously, it's important to win cups because for a club like Mamelodi Sundowns, it's important to be know the decision moments of all the competitions. Me, myself, of course, and the players, we feel that there's energy for this competition. It's the starting of the season. It opens, obviously, and states a beginning, and everybody likes to give a first step forward, let's say. Brings new energy, brings dynamic. But one of two of the most important teams in South Africa will stay out, and life will continue. Of course, that we don't want that to happen to us, and we're gonna approach in a very serious way the match, trying to inspire players to decide the game in the right moments and work with the team so that we have a tactical approach that allows the players to feel comfortable throughout all the match. Peter is one of the examples that we have obviously inside the club by the dedication that he has to his profession, to the fact of being a football player. He trains very hard. He's an example for everybody, but at the same time, he's one out of all the other ones that also are very professional, that also have qualities and also have level. And Peter is a reference for all of everybody inside the club. I don't know if you noticed, but even myself yesterday, I called him on the sideline to salute him and give him a hug, a very special one. Because he made an achievement that we don't want to stop there, but that we all wanted to share that moment. Later, when we arrived in the hotel, we had the chance to congratulate him among everybody before we sit to dine, and he had a chance to dance for us because it's a tradition that we have. When someone has a good moment, we share a little bit of dance, and he shared that moment with us, and that was obviously for us a very beautiful family moment. We trust all the players inside the team. We believe that the season will give moments for everybody to highlight themselves. What is important is that everybody understands that it's in the heart of the family that those moments will appear naturally. Peter is now fully committed with us, as we are fully committed with Peter on keeping him on the moment, physically, tactically, technically, to continue to perform and to add goals to his whole scoring record. Well, it's obviously an interesting question, and that comes on the line of the previous ones. As for the players, for me, for the club, this cup is important because it's the next competition that will finish, let's say. And we have to look at it that way. It's the next one that will finish in not a long time, so we need to finish in the best way possible. We don't relate exactly with the past. I said that here in the press conference before. We don't relate with the past, we relate with ambitions that we try to keep in the high as much as possible inside the club. And considering that we have next match as the important one always in our thoughts, that's how we face it. If we do it the right way, we'll have the right to play the final. If we don't do it the right way or not on the limit, we will not get that right. And then we just need to look forward. But I think it's time, obviously, I totally agree, it's time to stay the club in cups and win cups. I believe that we have conditions to do, but I believe also there will be on the other side someone that will fight for it. So let's see if we'll be stronger. And let's hope Mamelodi Sundowns can do it, of course. Look, my locker room is full of energy to deal with everything that we have to face. And I believe that in this moment, throughout all the PSL, The locker rooms are full of energy to make good things. There are teams that didn't won 2 matches and yesterday won matches. There are teams that won previously and yesterday didn't win. We draw the first one, we won 2 in a row. A lot of illusion for sure in all the clubs of the PSL. And that's how we need to understand. Things are starting, a lot to be written. It's important to start well. So that's why this next match obviously is important, but still then whoever wins will have to play a final, so a lot to go, but a lot of illusion inside Mamelodi Sundowns locker room in the moment for sure. I think that what will tell us if that was an advantage is how the players, and let's see who is going to line up, because yesterday there were players that also made a statement to ourselves, so let's see who will line up on the match. But what is important and will define if the ones that rested, if they play, that was important, is the way they give themselves to the match. I heard the coach from Orlando Pirates saying here, and I totally agree, that these kind of matches, they need inspiration, but they also need transpiration. He didn't use these words, but he said it's important also to have the spirit to play these kind of matches. And I totally agree. And sometimes the spirit that the teams might have, they overcome levels of more tiredness or more rest, and they become diluted throughout the match. I expect that it will be an intense match, I have no doubts. An intense match for sure, since the very beginning until the end. Managing the effort throughout the match will be important, but also entering strong is important. I think the game will have different moments and we'll have to cope with the moments in the best way. What I think is important is to have the mind in the right place, so that you leave the right emotions throughout all the match. Because, for example, I didn't like how the team behaved in the last 20 minutes of the previous match at all. Because I think it was not the way we should have done to even eventually look for a second goal. So there are always things that happen in the matches that have to do with fatigue, that have to do with the mindset, with the emotions that you live throughout the match. I just hope that on Saturday we can have Lucas Moripe with a lot of fans from Mamelodi Sundowns on the stands, so that we can also get the energy that pushes teams forward in the moments that players need to be pushed forward. So that if that happens, and for sure it will also help us a lot to deal with the match. Well, I think Mamelodi Sundowns is not making any kind of noise around whatever happens. Mamelodi Sundowns is preserving everything that might be happening and keep it inside locker rooms, inside the doors, let's say. The locker room is impossible to be raped. It's impossible to be broken by these kind of things. The locker room is too strong. The values inside the club are too strong, so that these kind of events touch whatever. The focus is so strong on becoming better, on working for preparing every match, and the time is so small that the levels of concentration, of course, must be so high that we don't have to relate with what happens around. We have always the philosophy of if someone falls, two should rise. That's how we develop character, how we shape character, and I think that's how has been written the story of Mamelodi Sundowns, by strong characters, by strong values, by strong people. And whatever happens, it's always solved inside doors in the best way possible, and for sure in the right moment, spoken publicly. Obviously that when you have only one player for that position available, you are always a native player, a player that obviously it gives always some discomfort to the coach. That's why, and let's think that 𝗣𝗥𝗦𝗦 that also can play on the right was a national team. Let's understand that Mudau is not available in the moment. Let's understand that Moreno was injured and now you understand why, because I heard so much thoughts about that, why 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗙 also had to play on the right, because we could not risk to play all the matches in a row with 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗙𝗦𝗦 in order not to risk to lose him, and then we would have none player or any player to play on that position that is native from the position. So what we did was exactly manage the players that we had available. Of course, now that Tapelo is already available, it gives us more options for the future, for the nearest future. And from there, our thoughts and our work, it becomes absolutely different. And for example, going back on 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗙, yesterday you saw him obviously as an option on the left. So it's up to us, because it's very interesting, because we sometimes my assistant coaches, they play or brief me on some things that people discuss and speak, and sometimes so many things are written and said that have nothing to do with the reality that is happening inside the club, or the conditions of the players, or the players that are available, or why we decide to do that, and people just think that it's the head of the coach that is brewing something that no, it's because it's what we have to do in order to manage the situation, the moment, the condition of the players, who we have available, or who we need available in the following match that we need to manage here, and considering what happened before, the game time of the players, the risk of injuries, the fact that they are injured or have a small thing that sometimes needs us to protect him from an exposure for a long time on the match. So there are so many things that must be managed that that only us have the knowledge to really then understand why we put a certain lineup sometimes to play. It looks that it's just come out of nothing, but nothing is done without a lot of analysis, a lot of thoughts, a lot of discussion, reflection, and even sometimes like that we have to risk, and even sometimes we have to risk. But we always prefer to keep the players as available as possible, because we know that the hard schedule that we have will make some players fall naturally, because the aggression is very big. If we don't take care of them, and we also expose them to situations where we increase the risk of losing players, then we are not being intelligent or wise. And that's always what we do, always, because it's very important to have availability to then manage, as the question came in I think it was the first question, then manage some context throughout the games. Having availability is very important. Look, guys, I understand that it's interesting to get the feedback from the coach, from the other team regarding the team that he's going to play against. But it's curious, because I was asked about Orlando Pirates after the match that we played, and I said the coach would be there to speak about it. And then the coach of Orlando Pirates was asked about Mamelodi Sundowns, and his answer was the same. The coach of Sundowns was here to speak about Sundowns. I think that I'm here to speak about my team, not about Orlando Pirates, that I respect so much, of course. And it's not really something that is nice for a coach to be asked questions about the other team, because I'm here to speak about my team, my players, my club, my beloveds, and that's how I feel the situation. And that has nothing to do with the opponents. It's just how we relate with our things, you know. I think. What is important to understand for everybody is that obviously the new coach, or when a coach comes in a club, and gradually, because usually coaches look the past on the teams. If the teams become from a successful moment, the changes are much more easygoing, let's say, more slow, so that the team doesn't feel the impact of the changes. When the coach arrives in a context where the team was weak or was not having success, everybody is eager to change. And then the coach can arrive and change everything, because he will be accepted, because no one is comfortable where it was before. So I think that's not what is happening in Orlando Pirates. It's happening a gradual transformation on the team, according to the fact that the team came from a also a good season. So the coach is managing that and he's giving his identity to the team, that for sure, also because there are new players in the team. That's also a reality that we need to understand. When you enter 4, 5, 6 players in a team, the characteristics of the players and the way those players can impact the team also makes the team become different. And for sure, as soon as the market will finish and also new players will enter Mamelodi Sundowns, you'll see new things appearing in Mamelodi Sundowns. Not because the coach became now a creative guy, but because those players will oblige us to look at them, understand what they have to increase the quality of the team, and we have to adapt to produce quality output or outcome in terms of results from all of them. And that's how I see the situation in Orlando Pirates. No, and thank you very much again for waiting for me. It's really a pleasure to be here again in the house and among everybody.
Thank you. All the best, coach.